Morality is a hard topic to approach. Books, movies, and games all try their best to make you question the morality of a decision. However, with books and movies, you can only observe and decide who you think was in the right. Games are the only medium that asks you to make the decision yourself. This creates a new layer to these moral dilemmas in media. After you decide, how do you evaluate it in hindsight? I recently played the game Pentiment by Obsidian Entertainment, and in today's episode of Behind the Bug, I want to explore the power this game's moral decisions have. Most importantly, I will show why games are the best way to investigate morality because of their interactive nature. There will be some minor spoilers for Pentiment regarding some of its messaging, but I will not show or discuss any of the portions of the later game in this video. Decision making is incredibly important in Pentiment. You have to choose a lot, and those decisions often have far-reaching impacts down the line. As you progress through the game, you'll see the consequences of your actions and will once again be faced with your choices. The greatest part about the writing behind this game is that you'll never be given a correct choice. Every decision feels like the lesser of two evils. What makes the setup unique is not the actual decisions. There is a plethora of media that came before this game with difficult choices that challenge morality. The thing that makes this game unique is its use of hindsight. As you continue through the story, you will see the impact of your decisions and can reevaluate them. This is something only games can do. It is why I enjoy this game so much. I'm constantly making then evaluating decisions. You will rarely, if ever, decide with 100% confidence and have it maintained as you learn more. This creates a much more powerful view of a moral issue. By making an idea and then testing it against new knowledge, designers are creating a more realistic moral question. Even traditional moral dilemmas like the trolley problem do not give difficult decisions the justice they deserve. In the same way a book asks you to question just the decision's outcomes, a moral dilemma gives you the two outcomes and you must debate which option is better. In a game, you can take a situation and decide as if you were actually there, then evaluate your choice in retrospect. Since Pentiment asks you to investigate murders and find the culprit, you'll be faced with life and death scenarios. Which person do you think did it, given your limited evidence? Now that you have decided and learned a bit more about the situation, did you catch the right guy? Or did you end up falsely accusing someone? These are just some of the questions you must ponder as the game progresses. None of them will have concrete answers, which may seem inconclusive and frustrating, but that is the reality of hard choices. Evaluating in hindsight in real life is often like this. Hindsight bias, also called the knew-it-all-along effect, is our tendency to say things are more predictable after the fact. In Pentiment, we will be given more information and asked to reflect and wonder whether we were in the right. We may believe the action has a more predictable outcome than it actually had. Pentiment plays into our desire to find a predictable solution and then challenges that idea by not presenting one. When who's been pulling the strings is revealed, it never truly answers many of our questions. You are still left wondering if you made the right decisions. There are no right answers to how you look at your choices, but Pentiment functions as a playground for you to experiment with your own moral beliefs. You can see the impact of your decisions without real consequences, and it can help you realize that assuming you should have known it all along isn't realistic. Situations are often much less black and white than a lot of media may imply. The whole world seems to create depth where other games may have just been skin deep. Every character has a unique font. During conversation, they will make mistakes that often will correlate with how they are feeling or their level of literacy. Characters display certain words and phrases in a different color to make them stand out. When a character is particularly emotional, they may even blot ink onto the page. One of the often overlooked parts of game dialogue is how much you lose out on by only having the verbal components of speech. Some games will use advanced speech systems to recreate this emotion in a digital space. Pentiment manages with simple animations and fonts. This adds some of the non-verbal components of speech while also saving considerably on budget. These are just some of the many examples of how Pentiment adds depth. Early on, you will pick your character's background, and these decisions end up having a major impact on your future conversations. You may know languages or sayings that present unique options. You may be able to relate to a character's profession or history as a result of your choices early on. Where some games would have had a simple store check, Pentiment uses your past responses to decide if you can convince a character of something. If you try and tell them to do something that is out of line with their character, a box will appear that will tell you whether or not your previous choices will allow you to convince them or not successfully. All this extra depth is wrapped up in incredibly well-written characters. You follow the village of Tassing across 25 years of its existence. During that time, you will see characters grow and evolve. They will become closer to or fight with one another. Characters will regret their pasts. They will do things you may not have expected, but these never feel out of line. The reason developing the world in this way is so helpful ties back to the subject Pentiment tackles. When challenging morality, the game uses this rich world building to its fullest extent. It piles layers onto the story to show the dilemmas in a crystal clear light. It creates a clear picture of the problem with a very indeterminate and hidden answer. It allows you to fully understand the context of the character's decisions. When you make a game with this level of rich layering, you are bound to make a masterpiece. The plot that is put over top of all this work is just the icing on the cake. Wow, is it sweet. Pentiment is another great game to come from Obsidian. It directly addresses moral decision making and allows the player to have an active role in the storytelling process. These innovative design choices give more agency to the player, which can increase immersion in the world. Ultimately, Pentiment shows how moral decisions can be more impactful in a video game than in any other media.